Hi, I'm Tish and welcome back to my channel, Auto Social UK. If you've been with the channel since the very beginning, you'll know that I essentially built it on Volkswagens. And up until today, I've really struggled to get my hands on new models, and that's why today's video is so exciting. And to kick it off, I've got the all-new 2022 facelifted version of the Volkswagen T-Roc. This is so exciting for me because the T-Roc is one of my favourite models that Volkswagen do, and I'm not alone in that. Since this was launched in 2017, Volkswagen have sold over 1 million T-Rocs, and one of those is even my own mum. In today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at what's changed for the 2022 facelift and finding out if it's just as good as it always was. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then hit that subscribe button. When the T-Roc launched, it was Volkswagen's 4th SUV. It now sits in a lineup of 9, with more models in the pipeline. For now, it remains available as a petrol or diesel. Hybrids have been rumoured, but not confirmed. Based off of the Volkswagen Golf, the Volkswagen T-Roc is slightly bigger than its sister, the T-Cross, and slightly squarer in shape compared to its coupe SUV brother, the Tego, which is Volkswagen's latest SUV offering. The T-Roc has had a few subtle changes to the exterior to make sure that it still looks sleek and modern, aside all of the other latest Volkswagen releases. This has come with a light bar that runs across the front of the car, and the new, softer, smoothed out Volkswagen badges. The headlights also now get LED tech throughout the range. The D-shaped daytime running light, previously only available on design models upwards, are now standard fit, whilst the rear lights are subtly more smoky than before and feature scrolling indicators. Something that is slightly a downgrade almost, however, is the wheel size. The entry point Life model gets 16-inch wheels now as standard, while upgrading to the style brings 17s. Thankfully though, there is 14 alloy wheel options to choose from if you fancied upgrading, like my test car, which sits on 19-inch Missanos. I personally think these gloss black wheels look fantastic and are well worth the upgrade, and look great contrasted against this brand new petrol blue paintwork. You still have the option to have a few different coloured roof options, including body coloured and this gloss black with matching roof rails and wing mirrors. I think this looks fantastic. There's also a nice new design element that I love, and that's this gloss black bar which runs along the bottom in between the plastic trim and the body. Halfway through the previous generation, Volkswagen also added the Black Edition, which brought you a funky quarter panel on the back. Now this is still visible, but now is in a much more subtle carbon effect, which I really love. The T-Roc never boasted to offer class-leading space. It's marginally shorter than the Golf, but slightly wider and of course taller. Interior space will be comfortable for 2 passengers, but just like most compact SUVs, squeezing 3 into the back might be optimistic. The boot volume, however, at 445 litres, is 17% larger than on the Golf. The boot floor in its upright position offers a relatively flat load bay, whilst dropping the floor adds an additional amount of usable space. Just like the exterior changes to the new T-Roc, I'm seriously impressed with this new interior. It feels a step up from the previous model and much higher quality. Yes, okay, there are still plastics used in the cabin, but they are mixed in with a new leather-wrapped dashboard, which is much squidgier than before. You also now get a digital instrument cluster as standard, which makes it feel a lot more premium, and you have a new floating touchscreen. Yes, this is the same system that is used in the Golf, and it can be a little bit laggy from time to time, but overall most of the time it works very well. Plus, unlike the Golf, your climate control dials aren't controlled via the touchscreen, although they can if you want to control them via there, but they do have their own dedicated section, which is seriously handy. T-Rocs have always been very well equipped as they're based off of the Golf, so you get things like front and rear parking sensors, folding door mirrors, you also get adaptive cruise control and dual zone climate control. But this new generation gets a step up. You also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as a few extra nice features. The car that I've decided to drive today is the 1 litre 115 brake horsepower manual. Now, you may have been expecting me to go for a different engine and gearbox combination. However, I personally think that this is the sweet spot in the T-Roc, and it's the car that I sold the most of when I was selling these. And that's because most of the time the T-Roc tends to be an entry-level SUV for somebody who's thinking of starting a family or wants a little bit of extra space over something like a Polo. And then the 1 litre engine is perfect. To me, it has more than enough power for your everyday needs. The only time I'd opt to step up to something like the 1.5 is if you live somewhere with a lot more hills, and in that instance the T-Roc just needs a bit more grunt. What I do find a bit of a shame is the fact that this isn't available with a 1 litre paired with an automatic gearbox like you can get in the T-Cross. Because after all, the DSG gearbox with Volkswagens is definitely a really nice gearbox. It's smooth and really well ratioed. The T-Roc drives exactly how I remember it. It's light and really easy to manoeuvre around town. However, the steering is just engaging enough for it to still feel enjoyable to drive. Yes, okay, there are other SUVs which are more refined than the T-Roc, but for most people this is going to be more than sufficient. What I do love is the tech you get standard, so you get adaptive cruise control and lane assist, which makes long journeys in the T-Roc super simple, even in the manual. But on top of that, you now get predictive adaptive cruise control. Sorry, there's a lot of words in there. And what essentially this will do is it will use your satellite navigation to predict the roads that are coming up and set your speed to those, which is amazing really. I mean, adaptive cruise control has been standard in the Golf for years and years, and finally other brands are catching up. And rather than staying consistent with the other brands, Volkswagen are still adding extra technology, which I really appreciate. How economical each of the engines are kind of depends on your driving style and where you're driving the car. Around town on short journeys, the 1 litre will be brilliant, and you'll see around 35 to 40 miles per gallon and above if you're driving it sensibly. If you go for the 1.5, it's slightly better on longer journeys, and you may see a similar fuel economy to the 1 litre. If you really wanted to save on that fuel, then you could go for the diesel. However, I've never really liked the 1.6 litre diesel. It does take a lot of oomph to get it going. It doesn't have that sharp burst of power that you get in the 1 litre petrol. There's also a 2 litre diesel, which is fantastic and brilliant if you're a high mileage driver. And then you also have the most fun versions, which will be your your 2 litre petrol, and of course that 2 litre 300 brake horsepower R. Prices for the T-Roc continue to sit at the higher end of this market, with prices starting from £25,000 for the entry-level Life, though you'll need to spend another £1,500 for the 1.5 litre petrol engine. Prices for the Style and R-Line also start from £27,500 and £30,500 respectively, with the latter model not offered with the 1 litre petrol engine. Be careful with optional extras too. You could add more than £10,000 to the price of the T-Roc by just choosing additional features. It's been so good having a Volkswagen on the channel once again, and I'm hoping that this is the first of many. But what do you think of the upgrades of the new T-Roc? I'm seriously impressed, and I think it's going to lead to even more sales than ever before, one of those probably being my mum. If you've enjoyed this video today, please go ahead and give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this from me on Auto Social UK, then please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Until next time guys, see you later.